Right. Good morning, members. My name is Councillor Harry Saville, and I'm the Chair for Democratic Services Committee. Apologies. First of all, can I welcome everyone to today's meeting, which is a multi-location meeting. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and will be available for viewing afterwards. Should the live stream fail, the meeting will continue and a recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available? If you want to make use of this facility, please select the English language option on the microphone unit if you're in the council chamber, and for those of you that are attending remotely, by clicking on the audio settings tab and selecting English. For those of you wishing to speak in the chamber, please indicate by raising your hand and turn on your microphone when I ask you to. For those of you online, to be able to hear the translation at all times, sorry, I've lost track of my notes. Just very quickly, I'm sure these have expanded from last time, and I believe I'm under a penalty of death if I don't go through them. So, look, we'll pick up again. I can only apologise. Look, if you're attending remotely, to make use of the translation facilities, use the audio settings tab. Those of you in the chamber who'd like to speak, please put your hand up, and I will tell you when to turn your microphone on. In order for those of you online to be able to hear a translation at all times, and for those remote attendees wishing to speak, please use the yellow hand function. And again, when I call out your name, please press the push to speak button. As always, if you have an urgent point of order, just press the push to speak button to come in at that point. Committee members will be allowed to have their say first, and then relevant cabinet members will be brought in as and where appropriate to comment on any reports and answer questions. And then we'll give priority to non-committee members to participate in our discussion. In order to retain your place in the speaker queue, when you ask a question, please can you leave your microphone on until you've received a response, asked any supplementary questions, and you're happy. It would always be helpful if members could ask all of their questions in one go, and whilst we don't wish to stifle any debate, questions should be focused on the subject matter to avoid repetition. For those of you attending remotely, please remember that those of us in the chamber will be unable to use the chat facility, and remote attendees, again, if you do need to leave the meeting temporarily, if you can just let one of the Democratic Services team know using the chat function, that would be appreciated. And as always, we'd expect everyone present and participating in the meeting to conduct themselves appropriately. That applies to councillors, members of staff, and members of the public as well. So now we've got the pro forma bit done, we'll move on to our agenda. So we'll go to item 1, apologies for absence. Sally?
Yeah, apologies have been received from councillors Penny Andow, Samantha Cotton and Austin Roberts.
Okay, and are there any apologies from the floor? Can't see any. All right. So we'll move on to our second item. So this is declarations of interest under the Code of Local Government Conduct. As always, I'd like to encourage members to declare both the existence and nature of any interests. I can't see that any hands have gone up yet, so I will start. I should declare a personal interest in item 5A, the annual remuneration report 2026-27, as the chair for Democratic Services Committee. Councillor Gwennol Ellis.
Datgan diddordeb oherwydd mod i yn gadeirydd y Pwyllgor Craffu Addysg a Sgiliau.
Iawn, diolch. Right, any more? Councillor Chris Cater.
Yeah, I'm not a member of the committee, and I see Sian's shaking her head here. So do I not need to declare an interest in the fact that I'm a cabinet member and getting remuneration for that?
Discretionary.
No.
Yeah, it's not discretionary.
It's not.
Chris, so you don't need to.
Okay.
But thank you for checking.
Okay.
Right, I can't see that there are any others. So move on to item 3, urgent matters. There are none. So we'll move on to item 4. So these are the minutes from our previous meeting back in February. Now, just as there's been quite some time since the last meeting and a significant change in membership, I would just remind members of the advice we received on the 20th of August last year, which is that minutes shall be determined by the majority of members of the committee present when the matter in question was decided. So essentially, if you were at the meeting, please vote on it. If you weren't at the meeting, perhaps best not to. So I'm happy to propose that the minutes are correct record. If anyone would like to second that, that's been seconded by Councillor Gwenol Ellis. So can we have a show of hands? All those in favour? Okay. Is anyone against? Any abstentions? Okay, so that's carried. Thank you. So we will move on to our first substantive item. So this is item 5A, and it's the annual remuneration report from the Democracy and Boundary Commission, Cymru. So I will pass this over to our Head of Democratic Services, Sian Williams, to take us through the detail of the report, and we'll go from there. Sian.
Thank you, Chair. For the benefit of the new committee members and new councillors and anybody watching the recording of the committee, every year the now Democracy and Boundary Commission Cymru, DBCC, it's their role to set the salaries for elected members. So they set the basic salary and they set the senior salaries for the various roles that are held within the council. The council can't, once the determination has been made, the council can't change those levels of pay. It can't make a resolution not to accept the pay, although individual councillors can and do opt to take part of the pay or not to take an increase, for example. The only decisions required by the council, and it comes to Democratic Services Committee first, is the salaries paid to the chairs of the committees. So this is the report. This report is slightly later than usual, I have to say, because we had to change the date of the last Democratic Services Committee for practical reasons. So we're a little bit behind the curve. So this committee is seeking this report is seeking a recommendation from the committee as to which chairs receive a senior salary. So in the report, you'll see under paragraph 3.2 the increases that have been made, that have been determined by the DBCC. And like I said, there's no way that we can change those determinations. But in paragraph 3.4, you'll see that it is a matter for council to decide which chairs of committees are remunerated. And then currently we pay the chairs of the 4 overview and scrutiny committees, chair of planning, licensing committees and Democratic Services Committee. And then in paragraph 3.5, it's also for council to decide whether we remunerate our civic head. So it's in Conway, that's the chair of the council or the vice chair of the council. And you'll be aware that council has previously made a decision that only the chair of council is remunerated. The vice chair isn't remunerated. So it's for Democratic Services Committee today to decide whether it wants to stick with the status quo or make any other type of different recommendation to council. Thank you.
Okay, Sian, thank you for that. So, members, I think that's quite clear. We're looking for a recommendation to full council, and the suggested recommendation within the report is that we retain the status quo. Anyway, I'll go to our first speaker, Councillor Nigel Smith, online. Nigel. We can't. Nigel, do you need to press push to speak? We can't hear you currently.
Sorry, can you hear me
There
now,
we go.
Chair?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, apologies, but I've just remembered that my son is chair of Economy in Place Overview and Scrutiny Committee. So I feel that I should declare an interest and maybe should not be voting on this item.
Okay, Nigel, thank you for that. I've just been advised by Sian that you can vote on the item if it's a personal interest. Whether you choose to or not is a matter for you, but thank you for declaring the interest, and please complete the form as usual after the meeting. Right.
I will do, thank you.
Okay. I can't see that. Councillor Paul Lucock. Paul.
Yeah, I'd just like to move the proposal that we maintain the status quo.
Okay, Paul, thank you for that. Right, members, we have a proposal. I don't know, Councillor Charlie McCoubry. I know. Give us a moment. we're just having a very small technical hitch.
Bingo, thank you, diolch. Bore da pawb. Yeah, Chair, just I think a piece of information that would be useful would be just to know previously the total money paid towards councillors was, from memory, 0.56% of the council's total budget, and I think that's quite a useful thing to give some context to the actual figures that we're talking about. So I think it's something that would be good to be, if nobody has the figure at hand now, to actually know what that is. And it'd be interesting to see, well, how's that's increased in line with the overall budget of the local authority.
Yeah, I don't have the percentage, I'm afraid, to hand, but so the process is that when the DBCC produce their draft report, that comes to this committee around February time, and that's what happened this time. And we then look at the potential increases and how that will impact on the budget. You'll see under paragraph 6.1 that we did identify the resource implications at that time, so it has been budgeted for. And I think in the report that went to Democratic Services Committee in February, it recognised that now that the Cabinet has reduced from 10 to 9, again, it reduced the overall cost of salaries within the council, but as a percentage figure of the overall budget, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
But I think just to add to Sian's point, because it is an interesting point, Charlie, I'm sure we can find that figure one way or another and circulate it amongst members of the committee, so you've got that going back over a number of recent years, if that would be helpful. Right, okay, members, I can't see that anyone else would like to speak or contribute to our discussion. We've had a proposal made by Councillor Paul Lucock. I'm happy to second the proposal. So the proposal is just the recommendation contained in the report. So if we start the voting process, if we can open the electronic vote now, please. Okay, and if we could close the voting process. Okay, and members will see that that's been carried unanimously. So, thank you for that. Nice and quick. We'll move on to our next item. So, this is a ask or report around a member induction working group. So, I'll hand over again to Sian Williams to take us through some of the detail of the report. Sian?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Now that the Senedd elections seem like a dim and distant memory, we're moving on to the scheduled local elections next May 2027. Those of you that have been through the induction programme that we have will appreciate how thorough it is. Lots of learning for new and returning elected members. So in 2022, after we had the induction programme, we had some group meetings with the newly elected members just to get some feedback, how they'd found it, where we could make improvements, etc. Really valuable feedback. But one of the asks was, or one of the suggestions was, why don't we involve elected members more in developing the induction programme for 2027? So that's why I'm bringing the report here. It would be very valuable to have member input into the induction programme, but to make it worthwhile, we really need to start thinking about it now and getting dates in key officers' calendars and just coming up with a programme that meets everybody's needs, really. So what I'd like members to consider, if they are supportive of a working group, what that working group will look like, the size, the representation, etc., so that we can make this recommendation to council and set the group up ready to start work.
Okay, Sian, thank you. So, members, I think Sian's explained we're looking for a recommendation to full council. Just before we go on, you may have noted in paragraph 5.3 of the report that I am supposed to be providing my observations at this meeting. So my observations on this are quite simple, really. I'm fully supportive of this, provided this committee is as well. I don't really think there's much more to add to that. So, members, I'll hand over to you to kickstart our discussion. Charlie.
Yeah, Diolch, Cadeirydd. So members may be aware that I've fairly recently taken up the role of New Welsh Language Learners Champion. The previous champion was elected to the Senedd, which just shows how beneficial learning some Welsh is. I think it'd be really good to have some input into this moving forward for members, because we're proud to be a bilingual authority, and it'd be really good for me to actually have members' views on what they would like to see moving forward as they come in to the authority, because I certainly look back at my time and some of my pronunciation of places and town names and stuff was poor, but that's all you sort of hear in some areas. So I think it's really important to have, even at that basic level, just that understanding of what members feel they would benefit from, what would give them a bit more confidence within the chamber and outside to siarad Cymraeg. So, diolch.
Charlie, thank you. Right, we'll go to Councillor Gareth Probert in the chamber, then Gronwy Edwards, and then Paul Lucock in that order. Gareth.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, as one of the newer members to the authority, I feel like I should probably chip in a little bit here, but at least not to say thank you very much to you for all the work you've done in getting me and Alan on board. I think it was extremely thorough, and I really did feel like no sort of stone was left unturned in helping us get on board and get going. So I'd be very pleased to support and help if you wish in the working group. I think there's an awful lot to take on when you join the local authority, and a lot to learn, particularly if you've got no background whatsoever. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and yeah, certainly be happy to support that. Thank you, Chair.
Gareth, thank you. Right, we'll go to Gronwy online, then Paul, and then Sean Grady, and then Gwenol. Gronwy. You need to push to speak, Gronwy. We can't hear you currently. There we go.
Too many microphones ahead of it.
Having been a member now since the start of this authority, is something that's very difficult for members. Well, I find it very difficult to get around, is the actual formula and the methodology of how we finance schools. And I think we need, going forward, if we're going to review the funding for schools, I think members need to be have real insight into how we work as governors in helping our schools deliver good education within a budget, because we're seeing more and more schools struggling now to stay within budget. And I think we as members need to be better informed on how the funding formula works. And it's not just education. So, the two of our biggest budgets, I think we have little training in how we can look at in depth into the way they're funded, and how we can improve the outcomes, and how we can try and stay within budget. So that's something I would suggest that the working group needs to look at, is how members are better informed on how our finances are distributed for those services. Thank you.
Gronwy, thank you for that. Right, I've got Paul Lucock next on my list. So, Paul, if you want to press your button.
I'll start with saying I'm not volunteering to go on this group.
Wow.
That's my first point. I personally would be quite happy for Sian to have taken the feedback that she had after, and I was one of the people in 2020 went through the induction programme. But if colleagues obviously want to form a group, that's fine. I think the issue for me, which was most profound, not that there wasn't good presentations from a range of good officers, that was positive, and I think all the subject areas were sort of covered, but I do think it was a bit sugar-coated because when it came very quickly in the early weeks in 2022, and as a new councillor, you fully realised the hard realities, particularly of the financial situation. But I think also, I don't think there was enough hard data about the key issues. And I think now we are better. We do have more dashboards of the hard data, whether it's on housing or whatever it's on. And that information, I think, should form a central part because it is the facts of the case. I also think, and there were one or two good examples of this, is the sort of pathway of service users. So to hear somebody on the housing waiting list, or somebody who is a child looked after, or somebody who's waiting residential and nursing care or whatever, both the good stories, I want to hear the good stories about people who've had good experiences through that process, but I also want to hear, the challenges and obstacles that some of those people face. So my argument to the group when it's formed is please don't over sugarcoat it. Give the hard reality, because I think that's important from the beginning.
Paul, no, thank you for those observations. I suspect a number of members would agree with you there. Right, we'll go to next. I have on my list Councillor Sean Grady online. Sean. Yeah, we can't hear you currently, but you've come up red. Are you muted, Sean? One second. Okay, Sean, what we'll do is we'll move on to the next speaker, but Sally will try to get someone to touch base with you just to see if we can troubleshoot whatever the issue is at your end. So we will next go to Gwenol in the chamber. Gwenol.
Diolch Cadeirydd. Mae'n anodd cofio nôl i 2022, ond dwi yn cofio yr holl hyfforddiant gyda ni. A mi oedd yr hyfforddiant yn drwm iawn i mi gael deud, chi'n bod efo, ac oeddech chi bron yn teimlo, gadewch i ni rwan gario ymlaen efo'r gwaith, ond oedd o'n werth i gael, ac mae ar gael i edrych arno fo eto wrth gwrs. Un peth dwi wedi ofyn amdano fo, a dwi wedi gofyn amdano fo fwy nag unwaith, ydy bod, dwi'n gwybod bod yna gostau efo hyn, ond dwi yn meddwl y dyle pob un cynghorydd newydd gael cyfle i fynd i weld pob un rhan o Gonwy. Mae gen i ofn bod yna ddiffyg dealltwriaeth ymysg rhai cynghorwyr newydd a rhai efallai sydd wedi symud i fyw i Gonwy yn y blynyddoedd mwyaf diweddar. Dwi'n cynrychioli ward wledig sydd yn 30 milltir o Gonwy o goed pella man hyn, a mae gen i ofn bod yna rhai cynghorwyr ddim yn gwybod bod ni'n bod hyd yn oed. Felly mae'n bwysig, dwi'n meddwl, tro nesa bod yna gyfle i fynd â phob un cynghorydd i weld lle mae'r wardiau i gyd, yn enwedig y rhai ym mhen pella'r sir ac yn yr ardaloedd gwledig. Felly, fyswn ni'n erfyn ar ei hynna gael digwydd os gwelwch yn dda. A hefyd, dwi'n meddwl fel cynghorwyr newydd fyswn ni, a hyd nod rwan, fyswn ni licio cael rhyw fath o gynllun o be di be yng Nghoed Pella, lle mae pawb ar pa lawr yng Nghoed Pella, lle swn ni'n ffindio pobl. Does na ddim map hyd y gwn i mi gael ffindio pobl i fynd atyn nhw. A ydych chi'n ffindio chi'n yn gofyn i bobl falle sydd yma i weithio, sgusodwch fi, lle chi'n mynd o deithau lle mae hwn a hwn. Wel, ddyle bod genna i fap ymlaen, dwi'n meddwl, i ddeud wrtha i lle i ffindio pawb yma yng Nghoed Pella. Mynd yn ôl falle i be ddudodd cynghorydd Charlie man hyn fel pencampwr y Gymraeg. Dwi yn meddwl hefyd ar ddechrau'r cyngor nesaf bod rhaid i ni bwysleisio fel dudodd Charlie bod ni yn gyngor dwyieithog, ond hefyd i ofyn i bobl barchu sydd i ynganu enw ein sir i ddechrau, sef Conwy, a hefyd sydd i ynganu enwau wardiau a tre a phentrefi yng Nghonwy parch i'r pobl sy'n byw yn y llefydd hynny. A cyfeirio nôl at be ddudodd y cynghorydd Paul yma'n hyn, falle oedd o'n deud bod eisiau sôn am realaeth, mwy o reality check. Mae gen i ofyn ynddo, pe bai rwy'n wedi deud wrtha i be di reality ar ddechrau'r cyfnod, y byswn ni wedi gadael yn y fan ar lle, oherwydd mae hynny, mae'n rhaid na chi'n chwerthu, ond dwi o ddifri yn meddwl hynny, a dwi'n meddwl bod rhaid i ni ddechrau hefyd bod yn gleniach efo'n gilydd a fwy gofalus sydd yn ni'n siarad efo'n gilydd yn y siambr, neu fydd ne neb eisiau bod yn gynghorydd. A dwi o ddifri yn deud hynny. Felly, dyna yn sylwadau fi, y gadeirydd. Diolch yn fawr.
Gwenol, Sean would like to come in, so I'll let Sean come in, and then I was going to pass a comment. But Sean, go on.
Sorry.
No, you first.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, what you have to say will be more important.
It was just to respond to some of the issues that Councillor Gwenol has raised. So I think 2022 was the first time that we hadn't done a coach tour of the area. To go to all the different areas within the county and visit some of the facilities in those areas, or just drive around the areas, and that was based on feedback from, what would it have been, 2017?
I don't know. 2017.
It did happen. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That whilst it was nice, not much had been learnt. So I think it is about achieving a balance. Personally, I liked the coach tour. I thought it was actually a way of getting the newer members in particular together and chatting and talking, and you actually had those conversations in between the visits to the various places. So that's something that the working group can look at, definitely. In terms of the so Coed Pellach is zoned. There are very few places where individual officers have designated desks. I think Democratic Services is one of those few services, but we can definitely share the zoning. But that's not to say that the person that you will be looking for will be sat at a specific desk. And then, picking up on Councillor Paul and your comments about the hard reality of being an elected member, as well as the induction sessions for our newly elected and returning members. We actually do sessions before the election for potential candidates. And it is a hard balance to achieve, because you don't want to put I don't want to put people off standing for election. But as you say, the hard reality, once you are elected, can come as a bit of a shock. So I think part of the work of the working group as well might reflect on what we share with potential candidates. We tend to involve the chair and the vice chair of the council with those sessions, because we don't want it to become too political, because obviously you have various people standing for election, but feedback for those sessions would be valuable as well.
Diolch, Sian. Y rheswm mwyn i bobl gael dall pam bo fi wedi gofyn am yr daith yma o gwmpas y sir ydy. A dydy hwn ddim yn joc, ond mi ofynodd un cynghorydd i mi yn fuan iawn yn y cyfnod yma, lle os oeddwn ni yn byw ym Mangor. Iawn, cynghorydd o Sir Conwy yn gofyn i mi os o'n i'n byw ym Mangor. Wel, mae hynny'n dangos diffyg dealltwriaeth mawr yn dydi o'r sir. Felly, dyna pam dwi yn gofyn am hynny. A cofiwch hefyd, dwi jyst atgoffa Sian, mae yna rhain ni wedi gwneud fideos yn does i berswadio pobl i ddod yn gynghorwyr. Ac o hwnna wedi cael ei wneud yn eitha buan yn pan ddos i'n gynghorydd. Falle swn i'n wahanol, swn i'n ffilmio fo heddiw, lle. Ond o'n i'n llawn brydfrydedd ar y pryd. Diolch yn fawr.
No, Gwenol, thank you for that. And the couple bits I was going to comment on. So Sean has said we will get a map of the zoning of Coed Pellach shared. But your observation you made about Councillor asking whether or not you live near Bangor, and I know you'll appreciate this point. It wasn't that long ago I was talking to someone who had a history of involvement within the local authority, who wasn't sure the difference between Cerrig-y-Drudion and Ceredigion. And I think you've got to really wonder, has something gone amiss if we're confusing a county in mid Wales with what is, and Cerrig-y-Drudion is reasonably small, but in terms of population centres in the south of Conway, it's one of the bigger and more notable ones. So you're right, there would certainly have to be some sort of cost implications considered, but I think a tour off the county or some sort of exercise to give members that geographical understanding would be useful. Right, I have quite a big list of people who want to speak, so if you'll bear with me and we'll just work through it as we get to people. Next on my list, I have Councillor Anne McCaffrey online. Anne.
Thanks, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Brilliant. Okay. I think we always have done induction and indeed ongoing training well within Conway. So I do take my hat off to Shan and the Democratic team. And also they've always been really intent on ensuring that we improve and upgrade and learn as we go. So, that's the sort of starting point for me. I don't really particularly want to go into the detail of I think what the working group should be looking at, but I am in favour of a working group being formed, because I think getting members to sort of input and help sort of structure this, I think can only be a good thing. We're quite a complex organisation, are we not? And we're certainly a political organisation. We've got ever increasing number of groups. So members are not in equal sort of positions in terms of how they learn from other members and other groups. I think it's important that we get our programme sort of just as spot on as we can. So I would like to move the recommendation that we actually have a working group. But I think because of the differentiation of sizes of working groups, I think it's really important as well that my recommendation includes that we have representation in the working group of all the groups of all the shapes and sizes, because I think that way we're making a more inclusive approach, and obviously making sure that we're not leaving out. So having said all of that, I think we do need to get more cute about financial information, both that we share at the beginning and indeed ongoing maybe. And also I think it is quite difficult in a changing officer environment to understand what the structure is of all the service areas. So I think, that would be a really good improvement, that there'd be an infograph around that gives you names and sort of contact details as well. So just some initial thoughts, but it's more about the process for me. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, Anne, thank you for that. Look, just before we go on, because I think Anne, you just made a proposal there. And am I right in understanding essentially it's we go for recommendation in the report, but in terms of a clear instruction on size and makeup, politically representative with one member from each group, would that be?
That's it. Yeah, it is. Yep. Spot on, Harry. Thanks.
Is similar to what we have had previously for working groups that deal with democratic services related issues. So I'd be happy to second that recommendation. Anyway, we'll move on to Councillor Chris Cater next. Chris.
Yeah, firstly, I think it should be politically represented. That should be the basis of the group. Thank you, Chair. No, and I want to follow on from what Cynhora Gwenol said, and I entirely agree with that. The last coach tour around Conway that I went on was really informative. I clashed a little bit with Fran Lewis, who was busy pointing out all the corporate plan priorities. Because I was interested in members just diverting to see some of the more contentious planning sites, the big housing developments that we'd approved, those that we hadn't approved, and some of the controversies there. It was very interesting for members to see that, as well as Glasdeer, Venue Cymru. I mean, if I was in charge of the itinerary, I would take everyone up to Gwenol's community library in her ward, because that really shows a lot of positive work that's gone on there. And you pass by a few wind farms and other things. So, that would be really informative. So I would hope that would be included in next year's programme, Sian, a coach tour around. But yes, I'm happy to support this. I know I'm not a member of the committee, but yeah, thank you, Chair.
Chris, thank you for that. Right. we'll just try and bring Sean Grady back in. Hopefully any IT issues have been resolved. Sean?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, wow.
Exciting.
I have had lots of trouble with the internet lately. And that is a big issue actually at the moment. I know Llandudno always have trouble with the internet, but Conway's got no better. Conway's going downhill fast. There are pockets everywhere we can't get it, but that's another story. As for the induction programme, I was also on fairly new councillor on it, and I found it really informative. But I agree with what Paul had to say. We did get shown the niceties in a way of the council, and not all the things that we really needed to see. And I agree with Councillor Anne, because the officers change regularly. As new councillors, we have absolutely no idea who's who, and I often send questions completely to the wrong departments, the wrong people. They get passed around, and I know members of the public have a lot of frustrations in not getting replies, but I certainly have the same feeling myself. Some officers are excellent, others it's not their department, and we just get passed around a lot. But that's my naivety of not knowing who I should really be asking those questions to. So I think in part of the induction, we really need more of who's who and what departments and who belongs to who in a way. But I really feel that is really important, especially at the beginning, because gradually you learn along the way, but you're years into your role before you actually get an insight of actually the main people that you need to ask those questions to. So thank you for allowing me to come back in.
No, Sean, thank you for that. And in fact, I think probably all the feedback we're getting today, it's not necessarily linked to the specific decision around setting up a group, but I think it will be captured in the minutes, and it will be useful for the group to consider if council do go ahead with it. I'll bring in the head of Democratic Services briefly, and then we'll go to Gail next.
Yeah, it's just to pick up on the point that Councillor Sean's made. We've actually updated the contact details for our brand new to elected members, so we will recirculate those to the entire membership, because obviously there has been changes, hasn't there, since 2022. So we'll get those circulated. But I would emphasise, if anybody is any doubt, please get in touch with member services. That's what they're there for. They will direct you to the right place if you are having difficulties contacting the right person. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just quickly come back as well? I know Councillor Anne said about having all groups involved, but I do think some of the larger groups, it might be, I don't know if it's right or wrongly, somebody who's fairly new to the system to be involved in the group, because if we just have one member from each group, there may be somebody that's been in the council for 30 years and comes from a completely different perspective to somebody who's been in for a couple of years. I just like to add that to it. Thank you.
No, Sean, thank you for that. Right, we'll go to Gail next.
Just a quick one, really. I came on a by-election in 21, so we were under COVID restrictions again. So I had heads of service, various meetings online with them, which gets a bit overwhelming because you've no idea, you've not got the support of others asking questions. And then in 22, when I was re-elected, there was a programme of, the full programme with straight away. But as somebody, which I would have loved to have gone to, but as somebody who works, it was absolutely impossible to go to, and I think I wasn't expecting the full programme. And I think for a newly elected councillor, it's suddenly like, oh, right, okay, what am I going to do? Panic of, can I get to the meetings, etc. So I think people maybe need to be made aware of that, because it was 2 weeks of quite intense training, and I couldn't get the time off, and I'm sure maybe other councillors who work would be the same. Thank you.
No, Gail, thank you for flagging that point up, and I trust that'll be captured in the minutes of this meeting. Right, we'll go to Councillor Liz Roberts online next. Liz. We can't hear you currently. Do you need to press your push to speak button? Or are you muted? No. Go on, try it again.
She might be muted.
Okay, one moment. Liz, someone will try and get hold of you, so I will keep you on my list and we'll come back to you in a wee bit, if that's good. Okie dokie. Right, well, we'll go to Councillor Simon Croft next in the chamber. Simon.
Yeah, Caderiaeth. Right. Yeah, you've just pointed out something that we definitely all probably need, still, all of us probably need lessons on, is this fiendishly complicated EasyConf remote system for getting into meetings. Zoom was a lot easier, I think, and this system certainly seems to be more stable now, fortunately, and doesn't crash. But actually using it and making sure getting yourself off mute seems to be a problem all of us seem to have all the time. The other thing I could recommend for the group is showing people how all the various systems work, particularly Teams, and how you can find organisation hierarchies and things inside that, though not all of them seem to be complete. One good thing about moving to this place rather than Bodlondeb and being split around all the area is that everybody theoretically in all departments are represented here somewhere in the building, if you can find them. Maybe there's a system for finding people, but I don't know what it is. Where people are actually sitting currently would be a very useful thing to know. I don't know whether there's a secret to that or not. But it does highlight that you do need to be able to get hold of people to get answers a lot of the time. Certain departments and the organisation, I've had answers to my emails, and I can count in 5 years probably on one hand how many people in that department have actually responded to me, which is, I don't know whether I'm doing it wrong or I'm not going the right route, but it is something that I did make the observation to the WLGA team that was assessing us in all other organisations that I've been part of and work. If you can talk to somebody else who's actually dealing with the problem directly rather than going up and down the chain of command, that is the way things work these days. And in Conway, that does not always seem to be it seems to be a rarity to my experience, although you obviously have to copy in people at the top and cabinet members as a matter of courtesy. But that is something that really needs attention, I think. I don't know how other people feel about that, whether that seems to be the standard civil service way of doing things. I don't think it's appropriate to modern ways. That's really all I've got to say about it. Thank you, Harry.
No, Simon, thanks for that. Right, look, in terms of where people sit or should sit in Coed Pellter, we will get that shared sooner rather than later. And in terms of feedback from different services, if you'd like to have a chat after the meeting, I'd be more than happy to hear your feedback on that, just as a matter of interest. I know when other members have experienced similar issues, democratic services usually aim to be helpful in resolving those. So picking those up with Sian and her staff would probably be useful as well. But perhaps we can discuss after the meeting. Sian?
Yep, certainly. Wasn't aware of any difficulties that you were experiencing, Councillor Simon. So, yeah, by all means, if you come to us, we can help if possible. I mean, from my perspective, we don't have fixed desks. Our service is the only service really that has fixed desks within Coed Pellter. So it would be impossible for me to say, so-and-so officer sits at this desk on this floor, because it just doesn't work like that. The whole building and the seating and the zoning has been arranged so it allows that agile working. So people might be working in Coed Pellter, they might be working at a different council building, they might be working at home going out to visit. That's the whole purpose of agile working. So I can't say to you, I don't think anybody would be able to say to you, Mr. Williams will be sat at this desk at this time. What works is if you Teams message someone and say, I'm in Coed Petler, are you in the building? Can I come up to see you? Or I'm at home, are you in Coed Petler? Can we meet? That type of communication does work. But I do appreciate if you're then saying that you're not getting responses to your messages, that's maybe where we can come in and help you. But Teams is a useful tool, a really useful tool, because you can see if someone is active on Teams, can't you, Councillor Simon? So that's how we work it. That's how it works well. But you will never, because of the way we are asked to work now, we won't be in Coed Petler every day, because we just don't have enough seating for that.
I fully understand that. I have been other work organisations I've been in, we've done home working quite a lot, but you do know the system, or at least something in IT does know when officers are logged in at a certain desk, and it should be possible to actually inquire who's logged. Where's Jeff? Oh, he's up on 3rd floor, station 307 or something. That information's in there somewhere. I don't know why we can't get at it.
No, Simon, thank you for that. Right, we'll go next to, we've got 3 speakers left, so we'll go to Councillor Chris Hughes online, then Gronwy, and then we'll try Liz again. So, Chris.
I had to turn my camera off because my internet is not playing a game with me today. But I had a couple of concerns. I think firstly, in terms of the working group, it needs to have a geographical split as well. I think as well as political, we need to ensure that we're getting people from right across the authority areas. I think that would be helpful. But coming back to what's actually part of the induction, I mean, when I've been a member of this council now this is my 28th year, and when we first started having laptops, I was actually one of the computers. I was one of the mentors, and we would help to support others to access their computers. I think technology has moved on now, and I find that where I thought I was an expert some years ago, now I'm looking at things like Teams and other things and thinking, how the heck do I work my way around that? So I do think that IT training needs to be an integral part of the course, because it has changed so much over the years. And I, as somebody who, as I say, I thought I was a bit, an IT expert to a degree, as expert as an amateur can be, now I find myself struggling with certain elements of it. So I think that's one thing. The other thing, I mean, I do think that I've attended all of the inductions, because I personally think that so much changes in a 4-year period that each and every induction that I've been to, there has been significant differences between the latter one. What I did find at the last one, there was inconsistencies in terms of the detail that some departments went into. So, for example, education and social services were really long, thorough discussions, whereas some of the others, that whether it's familiarity or what, I don't know, but some of the others like ERF I found were informative in terms of they provided you an overview of everything, but there was no detail. They didn't go into the same level of detail as education and social services. And I think the same with certain parts of the economy and culture part of the authority. There were some elements that went into great detail, like leisure, for example, but other parts like economic development didn't go into that same level of detail. And I think it leaves you. For me, I just felt that there should have been a little bit more in terms of some of them areas, and it would be great if there was a lot more consistency around the detail. I appreciate what Gwen all said in terms of the hard facts, the facts, figures, the data, and everything. I do think that could be a bit over the top, but I was thinking at the time. I remember thinking, well, there's an awful lot more to ERF than what they're telling us, and I felt that people might have not got the full picture at that time. But that was just me, as somebody who'd been here for a long time and probably had developed a degree of knowledge over that time.
Chris, no, thank you for that. And I think with some of the other comments, those are really useful bits of feedback that will be minuted and will go to the working group if council do set it up. So we're getting towards the end of our speakers list, but we'll go back to Councillor Gronwy online, and then we'll see if we can bring Liz in afterwards. Gronwy. Yeah, we can't hear you currently. Do you need to press your push to speak button?
Can
we can
you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you for letting me come back. The council has changed enormously since I was first elected in '96, and we are now involved in so many different things, and there are so many different people that take decisions that affect Conway. I think of things like CJC. How many members actually know what the CJC, what influence it has on the decision making in Conway? Because some pretty big decisions are made there, but how many of us would know about those? There's the things like the Conway-Denbighshire Partnership. Do we know exactly what they're involved in, how they influence on the workings of the Conway Council? National Park, now we're fortunate now we have a chairman of the National Park, which is a massive step forward that for the first time Conway has actually got the chairman of the National Park. But how can we influence policy in the National Park? Because about a quarter of Conway is in the National Park, but we can't really influence policy making much, in my opinion. The other one is the North Wales Ambition Board and how they decide on levelling up funding bids and the applications that go into that. How do members actually have the ability to influence what we put forward for some of those bids? Now, Conway's part of the North Wales Ambition is tourism. Now, okay, tourism is a vital part of Conway's economy, but how do we have more insight into the workings of tourism and improving the on behalf of the businesses that operate in Conway? I sit on the Gwynedd Pension Board, and I no idea how many members of Conway Council have any idea how the money in the Gwynedd Pension Board is spent. There's a massive amount of money there. It's £4 billion pot. Most of our staff pay into the Gwynedd Pension pot. A lot of our members pay into the Gwynedd Pension pot. There's 10% of that 4 billion that can be reinvested into infrastructure. Now, I keep on bringing it up from time to time. But at officer level, we need to know how we can access that, how we can put our expressions of interest to improve some of the vital infrastructure in Conway that is getting old, getting tired. We see all these applications for schools and houses and God knows what, but the infrastructure is not keeping up. So I think we need to look at, can we access other funding, like the Gwynedd Pension Board monies, to actually improve some of our infrastructure. And of course, the other thing we're very much involved in, but no real influence, is the Betsy Cadwallader and the health provision in Conway. The amount of time members and officers have spent working with people like Betsy, which has amounted to nothing at the end of the day in many cases. So I think we need to have better working relationships and a better understanding of how we can bring these people, hold them to account. Of course, the other massive change is we now have how many AS members? How are we in Conway supposed to connect to all those new assembly members? What is that, 12, 14, 15 representing the Conway? How can we best use them to help us in delivering what our residents, because at the end of the day, they are elected like us, and we need to hold them to account to make sure that they're working on our behalf down in Cardiff. So those are the few of the things I think that we need to be looking at, and for members in the new authority in 2027 to have a better understanding of how we can communicate with all these different bodies that sit outside Conway that have a massive influence on how we get on with delivering services in Conway. Thank you for that.
No, Gronwy, thank you for those observations. Right, we'll try Liz last of all. Okay, are you muted, possibly, Liz? Okay, I'll tell you what, Liz, if you're... Is it something where you could pop it in the online chat and Sally will share the main content of it with us? No. Okay, fine. Look, Liz, apologies, but thank you for trying. Anyway, right, okay, members, so we've had a pretty thorough discussion. I'm sure for details have been minuted, and if the working group is set up, those minutes will go to them to consider. We've got a proposal made by Councillor Anne McCaffrey and seconded by me, which is that we recommend to Council that a member induction working group is set up by this committee to agree on the induction programme to commence in May 2027, and that the group should be politically representative with one member per group. Obviously, other bits can be picked up by the group at that point. But we have a proposal. So if we begin the electronic vote. And we'll close the vote now, please. And that is carried. So, members, thank you for your participation today. I will see you all next time. Thank you.